Hello everybody, this is Ferno11. This is a different approach than I normally take. Normally I do Let's Plays or, for the most part, updates on what's going on, and apologies is most of my content, but this is a review video. I've done a couple of reviews before, but recently I got a new game, Fairy Fencer F, as you can see, and I really liked it. But I also know that Steam isn't the best at giving refunds with games. I'm gonna tilt my mic just up a little bit. So I figured I'd go ahead and show you guys how the game handles, what it's like. Overall, I don't know that it was worth $20, $30. I don't know what I don't remember what the default price is. I got it on sale though. Bleeding out of my leg. I got it on sale though, so I picked it up for I think like $3, so it was well worth it. And then the DLC is all the DLC is like 90 cents, 99 cents, so it's all $1 for the DLC. The DLC is typical JRPG. Why was some of this disabled? Whatever. Yeah, so a lot of this, some of this stuff is typical JRPG where it gives you advanced stuff that you can get, items, synthesis kits, stuff like that. Different weapon styles for different people, stuff like that. So it's interesting. You don't need to have those items, and I'm not going to do a very long review, so we don't have to have that stuff, but let's go ahead. And I'm going to skip all this. I have all the DLC for this, but we don't need to know. And if you want to get the DLC, you can. I recommend, honestly, I just say if you are willing to invest in the game and you like it enough that you're willing to pay for it, I would say go ahead and get it. Just buy the DLC. I think the total cost that I spent was like $5, $6 for the DLC, for all the DLC packs. So.
Known as the vile god burst forth from the darkness.
And the videos, the cutscenes themselves are actually pretty good. They're a decent quality. The game is highly anime-based, though, so if you don't really like anime, I do recommend you not buy it, because if you don't like anime, you're not going to like this, for the most part. Also, this is a JRPG. What do I mean by JRPG? Well, I'm sure you are familiar, or most people are familiar with RPGs. You run around, you level up, you kill stuff. JRPGs take it a step further. If you want to get new weapons, you usually have to unlock them, which this does unlock new items as you get to new areas, so it's not as bad. They do give you some stuff that will unlock, but you do have to upgrade other stuff manually. So I would say it's not quite a true JRPG, but it's close. It does have a lot of characteristics that are the same. So ultimately here, it's going to explain the main story. If you hit B or circle, I'm playing on an Xbox 360 controller, so if you're using a controller, you can figure out. B is stop. We'll pause it. X will allow you to fast forward. I'm going to fast forward because the backstory is interesting. Oh, whoop, no, stop. Ah, darn it. No, stop it. And there's no way I can go back. Of course.
Wake up, Fang.
So I'll just
Fang, wake up.
play it like this.
Hey, Fang, wake up! Come on, wake up already! It's me, Aaron.
So as you can tell, the voice acting is fantastic. Like, I love the voice acting in this. Your character is Fang, obviously.
You obviously? Duh! You're so pathetic. I can't believe you tried to skip up. You have a duty as a fencer, remember? Hurry up and get out of here so you can collect
So
the
the basic backstory is the two goddesses. The Vile God was the demon-looking thing, and the goddess was the girl.
I know exactly.
In essence, what happened was
In fact, I want to retire.
they sealed each other away with these magical swords, and one of these those swords are possessed by fairies. Now, some of the swords didn't hit the goddess or the vile god and scattered, and guys that touch them and use them are called fencers. You are a fencer. Aaron is actually the quote-unquote fairy to the sword that Fang pulls out.
That's fine. Just means I'll have an excuse.
I'm awestruck by your stupidity.
Good point. Let's get out of here. I'm tired.
Huh? What are you talking?
Prison life has made me soft.
Quit messing around!
Stop talking back to me all the time. You should be thankful that I'm even trusting a fairy.
Just so we're clear, I'm not. Your fencers and fairies are equals.
So,
Be quiet.
one of the complaints, the negatives, I guess. Well, I'll go into positive and negatives a little at the end of the video. So I'm just going to go over this and then combat really quick. So the story, as you can see, and then I'll do combat, just to give you an idea.
Man,
How's it going? You're not from around.
Is that obvious, huh?
Oh, that? That's a Fury, one of those old fairy weapons. That sword's been stuck there since before the... Occasionally some foolhardy guy will...
Gotcha. There's something...
Who knows? Every kid knows the legend, though. If you... Tell you what, if you're feeling confident...
I see. If it...
So in here you'll get an example of an actual in-game cutscene. Before it was CGI work, this is actually using in-game physics. Or, yeah, in-game physics. Ting! Came right up.
Nice to meet you.
And that is your
I'm
quote-unquote
I'm a
fairy. She is not fairy size, she is full-bodied, however she can shrink herself at will.
Give me some food.
I am the life that resides in the fury you hold in your hand. Oh, what's your name?
I'm Fang. Give me some food.
Nice to meet you, Fang. That from this day forward, you...
Hey, wait a minute. I shut my mouth and let you give your little spiel. A fencer? No one...
Fencers are sword specialists who fight. That sword in your hand is just what... If you gather all the furies and revive the goddess who has been sealed...
What the hell? That's not what I was told. You're a fraud. A big fat fairy. I thought I just had to yank out this
Talk
damn
about alliteration.
sword.
Not at all. That's... Now come, young fencer.
No.
Huh? What was that?
I said no. I don't want... Just thinking about collecting...
Hey! That makes you a fencer. You've already...
An unbreakable bond later.
Wait a second! The one who pulls out...
Cool story. But I don't take orders from...
You're so mean! This is my first time, you know? Take some responsibility! Fine!
For those of you who are wondering, the game is shameless in its quoting of other things. Other memes and other stuff like that. Like, for those of you who are Naruto fans, Naruto, the actual word, is Japanese for the, it's something in ramen. It's the white, it looks like a snowflake with a spiral in it. Red spiral in it. I don't know what it is offhand, but that is, in essence, what Naruto is, and that's how the main character got his name. At one point, they're having ramen, and someone else is talking to the main character, and the main character says he can't stand can't stand whatever that is. Believe it, which is Naruto, the anime's main catchphrase. So they are shameless how they just throw stuff out there. It's really funny, and I enjoy like the little things they do in there. So as you can see, some of you might like Fang. Personally, when I was playing it, I thought he was just a real jerk. I did not like him.
There's only one option.
How many times do I have to tell you?
We're in this together.
Fairy Link!
Fairy Link? Heck does that mean? Oh, that's a very dead sword, and that looks awesome.
I don't know what the hell is...
Alright, so we're going to enter combat. Anytime something new happens, you will get a tutorial. Tutorials are pretty good. They're actually kind of irritating for those of you who have played RPGs before. They're kind of obvious. So I'm just going to skip through that pretty quickly because I've already beaten the game. I know how it goes. And actually, I'm going to beat it a couple more times because I just enjoyed it so much.
Ready, Fang? Just you.
You're just a damn...
Alright, I'm gonna skip that because I already, like I said, I know how to play the game. It shows you the tutorial, and then Erin will just show up and tell you everything she just told you. So it's kind of annoying. So, your character has a set movement range. The movement range is set by green. As far as I know, you can't increase that. The circle underneath your character is actually your interaction range. That you can increase by leveling. So you can run around, you can choose to attack, you can enter a command to use a skill, your ultimate skill, or a fireball, or magic. So I'm going to attack. So I don't have multiple combos yet. You can get a series of combos. I believe you can get up to one attack. I think you can get up to 4 attacks for any one character. However, Fang can get up to 5 total, I think. Anyways, so we're gonna do this. So he's almost dead. Now we're gonna show. I'll go ahead and show shooting slash.
Executing shooting slash.
Now, if I were to describe what the skills are like, I would say it's closest to Skies of Arcadia. How they're short, they're quick, but they're cool. However, a downside is you can't skip them, whereas you can in Skies of Arcadia. So when skills do the most amount of damage out of most of your abilities sets, and so you have to watch it over and over and over again, it can get really old and kind of irritating.
Hope we get along. Now, let's collect the.
What are you talking about? Like I already said.
What does that mean? Did you forget how I saved you?
Conscience?
Wait!
Huh?
Yeah. I know that I have to.
So the other main character has amnesia. What a surprise.
Never mind. Just go already. I must seem really annoying to you, huh? What? Just hurry up and... After you abandoned me, my body and soul will wither, and I won't remember anything. I'm so...
Well, you did save. As annoying as this whole Fury quest sounds, I'd...
Right? See? You really are...
So she was manipulating Fang all the way.
I guess some of those guards are still...
Oh boy. Alright, so tension gauge refers to one aspect of the game you'll be using the most, and that is Fair Eyes, which is Fairy Link.
Fair rice? Is that sort of
Fair
like...
Rice.
It's
What is this fair rice?
Stop talking.
Just shout it out. Nothing.
You are an idiot.
Let's do this.
Alright, so this is actually really cool.
Fair eyes!
Fair Eyes transformation complete.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so you have now entered Fair Eyes. You will now take less damage. Your damage is greatly increased. Like, if you compare the damage to what I did before to that... Well, I guess that's a bad example because you didn't really see. Here, I'll actually hit the guard.
Great.
Very Fury form.
With this, you're
So fair eyes. Seriously, I need.
Come on.
Let's do this.
Okay. There we go. So as you can see, that did significant damage. Significantly more damage. Another thing that is a factor too is when you enter Fair Eyes, you can actually use your Burning Strike ability. Then you can also, your range also increases. Your range will change depending on what skills you use. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and use Fireballs just to show what magic looks like. So for your basic spell, as you saw, that did massive amounts of damage. Now I'll go ahead and show Burning... Why can't I use Burning Strike? Wait a minute. That's why. It uses 250. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and use this. Normally you shouldn't have to for this fight, but I'm going to so I can show off your final strike. So combat, you can run around. You can have up to 3 people in combat as well. So the combat isn't the most complicated, but it can get really difficult depending on what's going on. So that was your Burning Slash. That is your ultimate skill, and that actually never changes. Although I think you get another. I don't think you get an ultimate, but I think you get a really powerful other skill.
Gotcha. I thought a bond would be a hassle.
So, what was that?
I'm the one who decides my fate.
Wow, that sounded really cool for some reason.
Basically, I'm gonna eat when I want to eat and
Why, you simple-minded.
That is essentially what that means. So this is the main city, the city of Zelwynds. This is where you're going to be spending most of your time going back and forth.
We've come a long way, so the coast should be...
If we just collect the Furies,
What if we don't meet?
as long as you collect all 100 Furies.
All 100 of them?
She's the deity who oversaw the peace of this...
Well, I don't want to wake her. I just want to hurry up and get your memories.
Oh, whatever. Let's just... Hey there, Hen.
Well, well, well. You just made my day. It's...
I'm Lola. You're a fencer, aren't you? This seems a little... Of course, but you...
nice. You get down to business fast.
Wonderful. But before I divulge, I'm running a special promotion today. That's outrageous!
No point in arguing. If that's her price. Whoa, you're loaded. Where did you get...
That's rich coming from a bread thief. I'll have if a fairy is motivated.
Sorry I'm quiet, I really like this storyline.
Wonderful. My sources tell me that if you... They say the monsters... Take care now.
The Soul Plains, huh?
What are you saying? Come on!
I know that.
Sorry, we're almost done here. I just wanted to... Yeah, I already said I don't need to watch this, Aaron. And unfortunately, see, like I said, it does kind of... That's one of the negatives I'm going to bring up, is that it goes through tutorials. It really drills it in, and this is not the longest game. But anyways, so Tomoe's shop is where you go to buy items, so you can buy better armor, gear, stuff like that. The pub is where you can do fusion, do item fusion in Tomoe's shop, I think. See what I mean? These darn tutorials are everywhere. Yeah, I think you can do fusion at the shop. The pub actually allows you to do quests where you kill certain monsters, get certain items, turn them in for a reward for money, and you can also upgrade. And actually the pub is very important because fairies come in different ranks. There is C, B, A, and S. And of course they obviously get more and more powerful. There are only 2 S rank fairies, and one of them is only able to be gotten through the pub. So you are going to have to do that. And then the Fountain Plaza is where you talk to Lola to get information about other Furies. And then there is an inn that you can go to later on to work on releasing the Seal of the Goddess, because that's your overall goal. So that is that. So we're going to go to the world map. Oh, this again. Okay, now here it's giving me DLC fairies, and these DLC fairies are actually very powerful. So they're very powerful, and they're actually, I feel they're catered specifically to other units. Like, they're specifically catered to the characters of the game to maximize their power. So you can move around and you can enter a thing at will. It'll tell you where the enemies are. The 3 DLC dungeons are actually extra dungeons that are super hard, very powerful. So on and so forth. What am I thinking? What do I need to go over next? That's it. Once you actually do get fairies, and you release the seals, you'll see what they are when you play the game yourself. You can actually stab the fairies into the ground near a dungeon, and you can give that dungeon more effects. And what that will do is it will make it so that your dungeon has greater increase, so you can get greater experience gain, increased drop item rates, stuff like that. Alright, so that's that. So what are the positives and what are the negatives of the game? Well, the game actually does have a few. So I'm actually going to go back to the title screen. So, what are the positives and negatives of Fairy Fencer that I have found while I played? First of all, game length. This is both a pro and a con. I found that Fairy Fencer wasn't really a long game. There's not a bunch of story here. The story does get very good later on, and that's what I meant by both good and bad. The story has a lot of very obvious tropes. It's going to be, you think you know what's going to happen until it does, and then it kind of throws things for a loop, and what they do later on, like I said, is very good. Like Fang being an unlikable asshole. That does change. Just to show character development, he has a bad case of whiny character syndrome, which he obviously gets over as the game progresses. It's very obvious at first. But a lot of the game is based off of leveling and skill, so your character doesn't actually have a limit. You can keep playing through the game as much as you want, and you can actually carry your save over where everything, including your level, is carried over. So, really, if you don't enjoy the gameplay, I would recommend downloading it because you're going to play the game a lot. If you're a completionist, you'll really like it, though. Secondly, as an RPG, your characters will actually get bonuses based off of how many times they play the game. Like, the more times your character is in the, or a character is in the startup position, you actually gain... Oh, what is it? You gain... Can't think. Oh, you get like 30 vitality, stuff like that. You actually gain stats for the more stuff you do. The more items you find, you gain 3 luck for each time. Stuff like that. So it's very interesting how it does that. The fairy system is kind of cool, how you actually have to find those. The game's depth, or not the depth, but the storyline was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. So what are the negatives? One, what positives does it have going for it? It's not a super long game. This isn't, well, I'm probably going to sink 100 plus hours into it, but not everyone will. You could probably get away with 20 or even 10. So it's a shorter game, shorter RPG. The combat is, while not fast, the combat is quite enjoyable. I really liked it. It's varied. There's lots of things to keep you busy. It's a great time waster. It encourages you to go into like all those random battles that most RPGs you finally get sick of. Zubat, anybody? This actually encourages you to fight as many monsters as you can, which does become a burden later on, but you still need to do it, so it does give you a bonus to that. Overall, I would say those are the main positives. Negatives are, there's not a lot of storyline. There's not a lot of story here. Oh, character development is a positive, but so there's not a lot of characters there. There's not a lot of real storyline here. It's, like I said, it's going to be a short game if you're just playing for story. Battles can get a little bit repetitive. They should have added an option in the skills and magic and ultimate attacks and even the Fair Eyes scene. You should be able to turn off, which you cannot do. And I think that was something that should have been done. What other negatives are there? I would actually say one of the things is scaling. They didn't do scaling quite right. If you play through the game, you are going to hit a spot where you have to stop and just grind for levels. I actually got, because I was just trying to play through the game and finish it because I was so addicted to the storyline, that I downloaded a cheat that gave me 16 times experience, and I was still having a hard time fighting the final boss just playing through. So it's going to force you to play through the game, and it's going to force you to grind. So if you don't like grinding, probably not the game for you. Ultimately, what is my final verdict? Is the game worth getting? Yes. Is it worth paying $20 for? Maybe. I would have... Going back and looking at it, I mean, I enjoyed it enough to pay the DLC, and I got it at a reduced price. So, would I pay $20 for this now? I don't know. But it was definitely enjoyable. I enjoyed playing it for what I got it for. Ultimately, if you don't like it, Steam has gotten a lot better recently about allowing returns. So, if you don't like it, return it. But yeah, it was a fun game. I enjoyed it. So, I can't really think of anything else to say that I didn't already cover. No. Chew on a knife. I don't know. It's overall, it's not the best game. It's not the worst game by far. It's definitely, I would say it's. When I was done with it, I looked at it and I was like, that was pretty good. So that's my verdict. It was pretty good. Wasn't the best. Didn't make me go, wow, I can't wait to tell everybody about this. But it was good. I enjoyed it. So, if you were considering getting Fairy Fencer, I hope this helped you make up your mind. If it didn't, I'm sorry, that I wasted your time, but hopefully you enjoyed it. So, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in... I'm going to pick another game for my Steam library. I don't know what I'm going to pick, but I'll see you guys next time.